Hello, I'm Dr. Kristen Lorenz. Thank you for watching today, and thank you for your questions and your desire to do the right thing in keeping us all safe and healthy as we progress through the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I will again discuss our current COVID-19 status, including the availability and usefulness of current testing, and thoughts about mobilizing our community. Then, I will share some thoughts about the opportunities this current period of confinement might allow. The data continues to be controversial, and it's still not helpful for us to relate the new cases because of the limited testing in Arizona and in Tucson. A more accurate way of assessing the numbers might be to look at hospitalizations and deaths related to the SARS coronavirus 2 infection, as those numbers are more clearly counted and are thought to be more accurately representative of the true totals. Those numbers have continued to rise this week. There may be a flattening of the curve created by those numbers, but it is too early to tell if we have reached the expected peak in the spread of the virus. Statistical data had predicted our peak to arrive on April 28th. And last week, that was pushed back to May 4th. Regardless of which is more accurate, it appears that we are at the top of the curve, and the number of new coronaviruses should start to trail off soon. What that means is that this new coronavirus is at its highest level in our community right now. When we remember that up to 20% of us can be infectious but not symptomatic, we are reminded that those hygienic practices are more important now than ever. So thank you for avoiding face-to-face contact as much as possible and for wearing a face mask anytime you leave your home. Thank you for being more aware of others around you as you maintain a 6-foot distancing. Continue to avoid touching public surfaces as much as possible and washing your hands as soon as you arrive home. And good job training yourself to avoid touching your face with unclean hands. That may have been the most challenging. On Thursday, April 23rd, testing guidelines for the new coronavirus infection were expanded in Pima County to enable more outpatient testing. This is very helpful, but we still have an extreme shortage of the testing swabs. There is promise that this will improve, but it remains quite frustrating for all of us. It remains that it's important for you to communicate with me if you feel that you have been directly exposed and are experiencing any of the symptoms consistent with the COVID-19. Another hopeful discussion this week has been about antibody testing, which is now available at Walgreens and through a national laboratory. There are two challenges which remain with the usefulness of this testing. The antibody tests are not specific for this SARS coronavirus 2 infection and may indicate past exposure to a different coronavirus strain. Remember, this family of viruses has been in our community for several decades, so the clinical relevance of these tests at this time are questionable. And even when we do have specific antibody tests for this new coronavirus strain, there are still the questions of what level of IgG is truly protective in preventing reinfection, and how long will those antibodies and the resulting immunity last? These are significant questions which will take time to answer, but we will have the answer to those, and they will be very helpful. So for now, it's important for us to continue the best hygienic practices and to contact me if you have any concerning symptoms you think may be related to this virus. We've learned about plans for mobilizing our community and releasing some of the current restrictions. As of May 1st, hospitals are authorized to perform elective surgeries which were canceled in order to maintain available staffing services for the expected needs for the COVID-19 pandemic. Tucson has remained very stable with available hospital beds, ICU beds, and ventilators. So, if an individual hospital can maintain this level of preparedness, they're allowed to perform the elective procedures beginning May 1st. This is a very positive beginning. As our community mobilizes further, my hope is that our state and local leaders will be guided by the public health officials, keeping our safety as a primary focus in the decision-making process. This will be important to reduce the risk of viral resurgence and to continue to protect each of us, and especially those most vulnerable in our community. We're now entering our 4th week of the stay-at-home mandate, and things may be getting a little tense, or you may be feeling a little frayed around the edges. I hope you've reached out to friends and family when needed, and that you've had some time to reflect a little. I think the most striking thing about this pandemic is how it has caused us to slow down. By removing the busyness of work, socializing, and running errands, we've had the opportunity to be quiet with ourselves and contemplate a bit. This process can be difficult, and anxious and depressive thoughts can be common. Often they're temporary and seem to flow through us, but sometimes they can lead to ruminating and uncomfortable restlessness. It's often said that medications are very helpful for anxiety and depression, but if we're not eating healthy food, getting optimal sleep, surrounding ourselves with healthy, supportive people, reading or watching meaningful pieces, getting some exercise and some relaxation, we are not giving ourselves a fighting chance to move out of the darkness. I think these points are important to remember right now in this time of uncertainty and transition, especially as we face more changes as our community opens up. I'd like you to pause and consider how things will change for you as we move forward. As restrictions are lifted, life will not go back to the way it was for any of us. How will it change for you? What will your personal decisions be as our community mobilizes? What is your new comfort level with public places and public interaction? No matter what the mandate is, you will have the power to make personal choices about your actions and your new normal. As your physician, I encourage you to be mindful about those choices as they can impact you both physically and emotionally. Some points of contemplation might be, what have you learned about yourself during this time of reduced activity? This involves thoughtful consideration for ourselves personally and also for us in relationship as a couple or as a family. Each of those units deserves attention and mindful exploration. Are things the way you want them to be? What have you appreciated about this time? How have you enjoyed being quieter and living more simply? How can we create more satisfying experiences, more meaningful connection, more personal freedom for ourselves and our family and friends with whom we are in relationship? What is really important to us? Sitting quietly at home or outside in nature is helpful. Breathing exercises can calm racing thoughts, and writing can stimulate emotional movement and creativity. For some, this process is more possible while walking or riding your bicycle. But I encourage you to spend some time journaling your thoughts when you finish your physical activity. Whatever form it takes for you, I so hope you take advantage of this important opportunity. This truly is an unprecedented time of physical separateness and limited busyness. At some point, I hope we can all look back at this difficult and challenging time and remember the lessons learned about ourselves and how our habits were positively changed. For we may never have this type of opportunity again, and we do have the personal power to utilize this time for the benefit of ourselves, our family, our community, and our world. Wishing you safety, peace, and lots of hope. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.